Hello, gorgeous divine being. It's Tiffany here, your friendly inner transformation specialist. I specialize in helping intuitives that have lost themselves by being tuned into everything and everyone but themselves to find themselves again. So if you've got any issues with knowing your wants and your needs, with expressing them successfully to others, been there, done that, got the t-shirt so many times, then that's what I do. I help you to be able to connect back in with who you are, your needs and your wants, and how to learn how to communicate that successfully to other people so that you can actually start receiving the purpose, passion, and partnerships that you dreamt of when you first began the spiritual path. And you might be there thinking, well, why isn't this quite going to plan? Hey, that's what today's live is all about. Today's live, we're going to be looking at the hero's journey and how that ties in with the fool's journey in the tarot and how that is your story as well. Hello, Julia. If you have been following along, then because it's like I'm doing a bit of a series between now and the summer solstice solar eclipse. So I started on the lunar eclipse last Friday, and I spoke about how I am launching Zero to Hero, a live run. It may well be the last live run. I don't have any others planned at this moment in time. And I want to just help you see what it's about, because we are starting on the solar eclipse. Summer solstice, solar eclipse, get that. It's all about getting clarity on your journey. So I spoke to you a little bit about that with the eclipse. And then on Monday, I went live and I showed you how to find kind of where you are in that journey, although we did it just through the archetypes of the tarot. Today, I'm going to help you see the whole journey. It doesn't matter if you haven't seen the other lives. Every live is a standalone and you will get something amazing from it. Obviously, if you do the others, you'll get more and more. That's how it works. So I'm going to share screen with you because we've got a little mini class and it's a very fun story. I would say it's a story, so sit back and have a nice cup of tea and a blankie and think about what your story is as I go through the story as well. And that's how we get the enlightenment going on. Okay, so tag your friends. Thank you, Sandy. I'm so bad at asking for shares or things like that. If you're seeing it in my group, you can't share it and you can only tag people that are in the group. But if you're seeing it on my page, then please, I'd love a share, or for you to invite your friends, because everybody will get something from this, because we are all on this journey. So let me show you what I mean. Okay. This is not what I mean. This is a trippy screen share thing that goes on when I press the button. So sorry about that, but yeah, you can see it now. So I'm just going to take you through this and then I'll come back to your comments after. Okay, so today I'm taking you through how the hero's journey, let's get that fitting to width, shall we? That's better. How this journey is in the tarot and in you. So some of you may have heard of the hero's journey either through me, or you might have just heard of it anyway. It's by a guy called Joseph Campbell, who went around the world. He went on his own call to adventure and he studied mythology from all over the world. And what he found was it was the same story. So he wrote a book called The Hero with 1,000 Faces. And he was friends with George Lucas, who did Star Wars. And you can see this behind Star Wars. There's Luke Skywalker, or you can see it in Lord of the Rings. This is Frodo. And it's what's behind every good story, okay, is the hero's journey. It all follows this structure. So it sounds like make-believe at the moment, right? But let me show you something. So if we go back a minute, this actual trajectory that you have here is in the major arcana, numerically speaking. So you've got 0, the Fool, the call to adventure. And I'll show you how these map out in a minute, but it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, all the way to the world, okay? Return changed in numerical order. Right, let me show you what I mean. So, call to adventure, like you might see this as Frodo, as I said here, and he meets the mentor, Gandalf, and crosses the threshold, the High Priestess. That's what she's about, is it's crossing the threshold from the normal world to the unknown world, like when Frodo leaves the Shire, for instance, and then meets the witch. I don't remember the witch in the Lord of the Rings, but you know, she's very white, isn't she? She has a very long white hair. Do you know what I mean? She looks a bit elfin. And then we've got crossing the threshold, and we go into trials, and we go into helpers, which is the Empress, the Emperor, and the Hierophant. Okay, so they are your structure, mother, father, education, your helpers. And then you go into trials and failures, which is the Lovers, which is puberty, basically, and the Chariot, also coming of age, driving tests, those types of things, trials and failures. And then you grow and you get new skills. So that's strength, and the Hermit. And this is all numerical order. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And when you get to 10, you're at the Wheel, death and rebirth. 11 is revelation, justice. Also the Hanged Man, for those of you that know the tarot, that's a revelation as well, but you can probably see it from the picture of the goldenness around the head. And then we have death, because when you have a revelation, then the old you changes. So we get into finally changes with Temperance, and she oversees the newly departed to wherever they need to go. Quite often we need to make good, so we land in the Devil, which is atonement, Saturn, hard work. You have to make it right, and as you do so, you have to go through some kind of transition. So we've got that with the Tower, boom, okay? And then when you've done that, you get the Star. It's only then that you get the Star, and you return changed in your subconscious, the Moon, your conscious, the Sun, your clarity, judgment. You've cleared yourself of the past, and then the world is yours, the end. Now, I'm going to demonstrate this for you with a little story by Iza the cat, so you can get to see what I mean. And as we go through this, just have a look and think about where you are in this trajectory now, okay? So, back in October, was it October? Yeah, it was October. My cat, some of you might remember Mystic Mog, she used to make appearances. My black cat Familiar, very special, was with me for 18 years. She was on her last legs. She crossed over at Samhain time, of course. And we had a cat that kept coming in, but it was very respectful to Mystic. It stayed in the kitchen, just sat by the fridge. But I think it knew that Mystic was not long for this world, and it just seemed to take up residence, okay? So we called her Iza, and this is Iza here, and she is the Fool, okay? So she had the call to adventure. Obviously, she'd left her normal world and had decided that her world was now to be next to our fridge in the kitchen for some reason, and it was all quite a mystery. But I think it happened because that how you spell magician? Yes, why does it look weird to me? Okay. Yeah, what had happened previously was we did know this cat. She had been around the neighbourhood, and she seemed to have bonded with my husband in the park a year or so before. This actually looks very much like my husband, so I had to kind of make this picture stand out a bit more than the map. I was like, wow, when I found that, that looks so like him. Although you probably wouldn't wear a red colour hat, but down to the hat, that is him. And he is a magician in that he is Gemini, and the magician is ruled by Mercury, which is Gemini. And so Iza really met the magician. Okay. She had the call to adventure and she met the magician. And so she moved in with us as Mystic crossed over the threshold and really was very respectful to Mystic. Mystic would just be like, and it would be like, I'm not looking at you. And she didn't even come in the lounge where Mystic always was for about 6 weeks after. She went around the rest of the house gradually, and this was the last room for her to come in. So she really, it was interesting for us, because if that hadn't have happened, right, I think we would have stayed in grief a heck of a lot longer. We weren't planning to get another cat at all, and I was absolutely heartbroken. Both of us were, but she was my cat. Like, I moved in with Rich and Mystic came with me, so she was really predominantly mine, and I was really heartbroken. So I'm gonna move in, and yeah, so we, she seemed to move in. And after a while, we were like, okay, well, I guess we should actually take her to the vet. So we took her to the vet, and the vet microchipped her, saw that she belonged to someone. We weren't allowed the information. They had to write letters. There was still nothing really. And we weren't hearing anything. And then about a month later, there was the vet calling us saying, this is her owner's number. She wants you to stop feeding the cat. And we'd become really attached to her. And so I messaged, and we worked something out together. We were kind of like co-cat parenting, because the owner wanted her cat to be happy. And, we were just like, we will stop feeding her gradually, but I just don't think we can do boom like that. So we kind of made this agreement, and to the point where we ended up not feeding her after a month or two, and then she still hangs around. So she's really crossed this threshold. She's no longer in the normal world. She's here with us, and she crosses the threshold to go back and eat, but then she keeps crossing the threshold again and comes to be with us. So that's where you've got the Emperor, the Empress, and the Hierophant. The Hierophant was the vet that contacted the Empress, and I guess the Emperor is the vet as well, and it was about getting this structure of care going in for this cat that was going to work, right? For Iza. And Iza's what we called her. It's not her real name. We found out that her real name was Lola when we saw on the microchip, but actually, we were like, it stuck as Iza Whiza. So anyway, Iza doesn't like the new system. She'd rather just have one home where she's fed, and she's not really up for this toing and froing. So we see her less and less, and we think that she's going home more and more. But it turns out that wasn't the case at all. So what happened was that she found another home, and we didn't really know about it. We were assuming that she was just going home more, and I think Iza's parents thought she was with us more. So it was just this real weird time. Until then, what happens next is that basically Iza's mum contacts me and says, I haven't seen her for 2 days. Something's up. What is going on? And we didn't know. But what had been happening in Iza's story, I'll go back here, with the growth and new skills. She doesn't like the system and rebels by finding a home with a youth who packs her off in a chariot. We didn't know this at this time. We were just like, where the hell is she? So nobody had seen her, which was really odd. She's a very friendly, which is part of the problem, neighborhoody cat, and no one's seen her. And so we're actually now being detectives together, trying to find the strength and the skills to track down where this cat is. And Iza is obviously having quite a bit of a challenge as well, in terms of she's been catnapped, right? She's been put in a cage in a carrier, which she hates, and put in a chariot, a car, and must have been really traumatic for her as well. So we have this real change point, this real death and rebirth, where we're going round in circles thinking, where the hell is she? She's going round in circles in a car thinking, where the hell am I being taken, right? By this time, we've got a kitten, by the way, because we realized we needed to get a kitten because we were missing her, and we were like, actually, it's time for us to get a cat. So she kind of worked out her purpose with us there, right? But now I'm feeling guilty because she's been in and she's seen the kitten and she's not really up for that either. And now I'm thinking, oh my God, because I didn't know about this other side of the story, that it's my fault that Iza's gone missing because we've got a kitten. So then anyway, we get the revelation. We get a letter from the vet saying she's been found and is waiting to be picked up 200 miles away. Imagine getting that letter without knowing what was going on, wondering where she is. And then you get a letter going, actually, your cat's here 200 miles away in Leamington Spa. We were like, what? How the hell? And then it came out that this student thought she was a stray and basically took her home. But the student isn't very well and got into a almost scrap with the vet when the vet was like, you're not having her. You basically can't have her. She's somebody else's cat, and she wasn't having anything of it. And there's a whole nother drama on that level. But just moving on with this part of Iza's story here. Okay, and how it is for her as the cat on the trajectory of her call to adventure, which was about having a happy home, really. So this is where you've got the revelation with justice, the hangman, and death. So justice was the letter from the vet that Iza was being the hanged man, waiting in a cat cage, bless her, for 3 days. Oh my God, she's such an adventurous cat. You know, this was a real trial and failure for her still. And so, you know, it was a real death of her old life and needing to do something to change. It was a revelation for all of us. So she finally changes, right? This is the next one, temperance, as her mum drives 200 miles to go and get her cat back. And that's temperance for you. She crosses the distance and brings you to the new land, to wherever you're supposed to be, basically. So Iza then decides it's safer to stay home. Okay. And Iza's mum has had such a shock that she works hard to get home right for Iza. This is atonement, the devil and the tower. Yeah. All right. And then Iza gets the home environment of her dreamies. She loves dreamies. Yeah. So she's got the star now. Yeah. Everything is cool for her at home now. And the moon, star, judgment, and the world returns changed, the end. Yeah. So we've got our little kitty, Minerva. We're happy at home with our little kitty that we probably wouldn't have got if we hadn't have had Iza helping us with our grief and our loss. And Iza, we've been obviously helping her with her fool's journey. So that there is the fool's journey. And so what about you? Are you feeling that you're on some call to adventure, that you have to cross some threshold, which means come out of your comfort zone and go on the adventure, because that's what life is, in order for you to be able to get your gift and return changed? That is what I do. This is primarily what I do. This is how I do it. This is why I'm not a tarot reader. This is what I do. I take people on this journey and it unblocks whatever their journey is. It could be passion, purpose, or partnerships. It's whatever the call is for you, because it works with any story. Yes, does that make sense? And because it's the solstice coming up, and a solar eclipse on the solstice, which is really, if we look at this, go back here, the sun, the moon and the sun, and the call to adventure and return change. It's like you can do it really powerfully and fast in 22 days. And this is the last time I am actually running this course, as far as I know, as a live version. So you'd be able to purchase it digitally, but to be honest, it's so much better if you can do it live, to give you the momentum, to give you the group support, to give you the live support. And so we do begin this on, funnily enough, summer solstice with the eclipse, the solar eclipse. Okay. And the early bird flies away tomorrow. Sorry, I shouldn't be singing, but here you go. This is the actual link you need to actually make sure that you get the early bird. So what happens is, if you go to https, what is that double dot thing, / www. My God, TiffanyCrosara.com /invite /hero. I think you can probably just put TiffanyCrosara.com /invite /hero in. You will get something that looks like this. Okay, so then you just put in your first name, your last name, and your email. You tell me I'm not a robot, because unfortunately I have been on the receiving end of bot attacks. And then what happens is you press submit, and it says thank you for registering for your 24-hour exclusive early bird for 0 to Hero, which will mean that your golden invite ticket to get in for £100 cheaper will land in your inbox tomorrow. But when I say tomorrow, this is Friday. So if you're seeing this before Friday at 5 p.m, then you're not too late. And when you have that invite, it's valid for 24 hours. Okay, so let me just go back and see your comments. Okay, let's stop screen sharing so you don't see my back end. Aha. Okay, really amazing to see so many of you, lovely comments coming through. And Sandy says, I'm a tarot teacher who used to teach English. This is brilliant. Yeah, you're going to love it. Absolutely love it. And Facebook user, and sorry, I don't know your name. It says here, total revelations happening and the old way is disappearing. Atonement big time. We've got to make it right. Yeah, it does feel like that this year, doesn't it? Good evening, Nonata. Okay, that must mean you're somewhere else in the world. It's daytime here. Sandy says personal development, tarot and cats. Exactly. You're speaking my language. So there you go. That is why the hero's journey is the fool's journey. To be honest, I think Joseph Campbell, between you and me, just thought it wasn't a great marketing tool to say the fool's journey and changed it to the hero's journey. So it's why the hero's journey is the fool's journey, and how the fool's journey is your journey of the soul. Anything you look at in your life, anything, any story that you have in your life, it will follow that trajectory. So, speaking about trajectories, goodness me, I should choose an easier word than that. Talking about that thing, tomorrow I've added in live because I've been getting some questions, some PMs coming in asking me about what to do when you start out reading. So that call to adventure with the tarot. Yeah. And so I'm actually going to do an extra one tomorrow for you guys to help you avoid some of the pitfalls or getting stuck or the false idols or the yeah, all the different things that can happen when you start to learn tarot, whether that is your personal challenges that are there that you wouldn't know about, or the professional ones that you wouldn't know about, because I have been there, done that. I've been reading tarot since I was 14 and professionally since 2003, and I've really gone through the journey again and again and again because it's what I teach, it's what I live. And so I'm really looking forward to actually sharing with you tomorrow a bit about that trajectory of mine and how it can help yours. Okay, so I look forward to seeing you then, hopefully, everyone. And don't forget to sign up for your early bird, because even if you decide you don't want to do it, at least you know that you've given yourself the opportunity to save £100. You know, if you actually don't sign up for the early bird and then you decide that you do want to do it, because there's going to be 3 more lives next week with some surprise bonuses and things, and you might think, damn, I really wish I had signed up for that, then you're going to kick yourself. So the link, I've just put it in the comments for you guys as well. All right, take care. See you tomorrow. Bye.